Now that you're logged onto your Chromebook, let's learn a little bit about how to use the Chromebook. When you log on for the first time, if you go to the bottom of the screen with your mouse, the shelf will pop up. On the bottom right-hand side are the settings. So if I just click on that, you'll notice that up pops the settings that I can change on the device. At the top, it shows who's logged on. If I simply want to sign out so that somebody else can go straight on, I can sign out there. But it's just as quick on a Chromebook to shut down, which is the circle at the bottom with the little bar at the 12. So if you click on that, it can shut down. The keyboard, you can run various keyboards, but the two that come installed are the US keyboard, which is the one we always use, or the UK keyboard. If you're getting funny keystrokes, check that, because the UK keyboard can give you very funny keystrokes. Also in the settings, you can set accessibility options. You can see which wireless it's connected to. So when you're within the school, it should always be the DBB mobile, otherwise it won't work. You can enable or disable Bluetooth. It shows the program that I'm presently running, which in this case is Screencastify, the volume settings, and then the settings themselves. So if we click on settings, when you first log on to a Chromebook for the first time, you need to go into the settings and come over and make sure that the box allow proxies for shared networks is checked. If it's not checked, you won't get out onto the internet, and that's the first thing that we say to users. If your device is not connecting to the network, to the internet, check that that is set properly. If you then scroll down to people, you'll notice that down in people it shows you as logged on, but there's a little checkbox beside require password to wake from sleep. Always check this so that if you shut the lid of the Chromebook, or the Chromebook goes to sleep or runs out of battery, when the Chromebook is restarted or the lid's opened, you will be logged on, but it will require your password to be able to do any work on your profile. If you don't check that box, it means that somebody else could actually go in and work on your profile. So make sure that you check that box. To access apps on a Chromebook, as opposed to an iPad has its apps on the desktop. A Windows machine, you can put apps onto the desktop itself or go through the menu system to get them. For Chromebooks, you come down to the shelf where you can pin different apps that you use quite often on the shelf, or over on the bottom left-hand side is the launcher. So if you click on the launcher, it takes you to the most recently used apps that you've used, but then also all apps. So you'll notice that in the apps, I've got one window, two windows, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 windows of different apps. To get apps, we go to the web store. So we click on web store just with one click. And in there, you can do a search for the types of apps that you wish to have. You can go all apps, you can look for games, you can look for extensions, themes, you can look for Chrome apps, you can look for websites, you can look for features of apps or websites that will run offline. So there's over 1,000 apps that will run offline, including Google Docs and Sheets, etc. You can look for apps that are owned by Google. You can look for free apps, and all of those apps that I showed you are free. I've not purchased any apps. You can look for apps that are also available on Android, and you can look for apps that work with Google Drive, meaning that when you use the app, like this Screencastify I'm using at the moment, it automatically creates a folder for you in your Google Drive and stores all of the things that you produce in that app in your Google Drive, so it's available on any device that you log on to and go to your Lighthouse account. So if I was looking for a mind mapping, I could just type in mind and I go, oh, mind map. Might look interesting. Click on it and it brings up all of the apps that are available for it. Now I have these loaded already, but if I wanted to load an app, so I'll look at this Mind Modo bookmarks, I can click on it, read a little bit about it, look at the reviews. If I decide that I want it, I just go to Add to Chrome. It then checks, am I eligible to load that? And in this case I am, and usually you are. I just go Add Extension, and it has now added the extension up onto the bar up there. If it was an app, it would load it into my apps. So if I come back down to my apps again, I've got all of the apps. Now, if I have an app that I want to use quite frequently, and let's say, for instance, it's Google Sheets, which is like Excel, I can pin that down onto my shelf at the bottom so that I don't need to go through Launcher and find my apps. To do that, I can either click on the app and drag it down to the shelf, and it'll put a copy of it down there, or I can right-click, and right-click on a Chromebook is two fingers simultaneously onto the touchpad, and I can say pin to shelf. You'll notice there I can also remove that app from Chrome. So if there's an app that I've loaded I don't want anymore, I can just simply delete it from there and it takes it out of my Lighthouse account. It's important to note that when you add apps, whether it's on the Chromebook you're on now or on a different Chromebook, it actually loads the app into your Google Apps for Education Lighthouse account, not the device itself. And that means that if you load it onto the Chromebook you're on now and then you logged onto a different Chromebook, that app would be available on the other Chromebook. So that's basically a very basic introduction to how to use a Chromebook. They are, as I say, a very powerful, small laptop designed to run on the Chrome browser. You can do lots of things offline, and the device is simply the connection that you have through to the internet rather than the device that you have to depend on.